You are making an offer on a property, it's competitive, there's multiple offers. Should you write a love letter to the seller? We're gonna talk about it right now. One of the sketchiest and maybe most controversial tactics to making an offer on a home, especially when you're in a multiple offer situation. So what does this mean? This would literally look like you typing out a letter to the seller explaining why you love their home, who you are, maybe a picture of you and your family and your dog and your cat. You're trying to get a feeling out of the seller that you are the one to pick in this multiple offer situation. You might not be the highest in price, you might not have the best terms, but if you have the best love letter and you're able to create enough of that warm and fuzzy feeling with the seller, it's possible they will pick you just based on that letter. So why is this controversial? For a number of years, I always wanted my sellers to do this. It was just one extra tactic we could try. I would say out of the hundreds of homes I've sold, maybe it's worked once or twice that they were picked simply because of their letter. Well, for those people, that made a world of difference. It changed their life. They got the home that they wanted. And so to take the time to write this short, brief letter made a world of difference in their scenario. So I always told my clients, hey, this might only work 1% of the time, but if you're that 1%, it's worth doing. Now here's where it gets a little bit dicey. Typically in these love letters, people are talking about themselves as the buyer. They usually include a picture, and so the seller's able to get a sense for who they are. Do they have a family? What is their background? What ethnicity are they? Are they married? Are they not married? Are they living together and not married? These are all things that a seller can now start to get an understanding of where they wouldn't have been able to before because that buyer is a little bit more anonymous. Now, what might be going through your head is, well, why does this matter? Sellers make irrational decisions. A really common thought process for a seller, especially if they raise their family in this house, is to think, oh, I just would love this to go to a really great family. Well, bing, 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 red alert. There's something called fair housing. To verbalize that thought and to make a decision on selling a home or not selling a home based on the idea of if the buyer has a family or has kids, that is a violation of fair housing. It's a really subtle thought, and sometimes for sellers it just clouds their decision and helps them go down a path of where they want to sell it to this particular buyer because they have 3 kids and a dog. Well, it seems innocent, but it is a violation of fair housing. So this can work in your advantage if you're a buyer and the seller likes who you are and what you're about, but this can also work in the opposite direction where the seller doesn't want to sell to you simply because of who you are, and that's not okay. So as a listing agent, on my end, I always suggest reviewing the offers first on their merit, who has the highest price, who has the best terms, based on the facts, what offer would you take? And then once you've picked it, you can read the letter and get to know that person a little bit more. But we're not basing our judgment simply on who these people are. We're basing it on the data of what kind of offer they made to us. As a buyer, I usually steer people away from making love letters now simply because I don't want them to be pigeonholed in the minds of the sellers in a way that we aren't intending. Of course, if buyers want to write a letter, I'm not going to stop them, but it's my suggestion as their agent, hey, let's make an offer that's really strong based on their merit. I will write a beautiful cover letter for you to pitch you as the people that they should pick, but I'm not going to get into all of your juicy details. So ultimately, writing a letter is up to you. It's up to your agent. What kind of strategy do you want to have? On the listing side, I strongly recommend not reviewing those letters until you've already picked your favorite offer. Just know if you do end up writing that love letter as a buyer, you're putting yourself in a position where the seller may make a decision not based on the offer you put forth, but what you actually wrote in that letter. So that's why it's dicey, that's why it's a little bit sketchy, and it's really easy to have a fair housing violation very quickly, very quietly, and without a lot of fuss, simply because there's that letter involved, more information for the seller to make their decision. I hope you found this helpful. There's no easy answer when it comes to this, but for more tips and tricks on buying and selling real estate, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We will see you on the next one.